What's up, it's Max Merck here. Thanks for tuning in. And before I start the video, I'd like to apologize for any background noise, any hammering. We got some construction going on our deck in the backyard. So I got this mic hooked up. Hopefully that should solve that issue. And apologies, I haven't been too active with uploads as well. It's just been super hectic with a full load of classes. Only got one semester left though, so I'm hoping after next semester to be able to go back into more consistent uploads and put out, the content that I'd be happy with, and I'd hope the viewers would like as well. I had to put this video out there today because it's a pretty negative experience at a Mercedes dealership I had, Euromotorcars Bethesda, which is local to me in Bethesda, Maryland. They service a lot of the DC, Maryland, Virginia area cars, Mercedes and AMGs. And I've never had to make this kind of video in the past. I've never wanted to make this kind of video, but I've been put in this situation now where it's almost a public service announcement to whoever else wants to take their car there, or any dealership for that fact of the matter, because a lot of times they just don't care. And I can say that because I spent about almost 2 years back in high school working at an Infinity service department as a porter, just helping out. And it was a great experience, but it showed me the other side of the automotive industry. All sort of brands, Mercedes, Infinity, BMW, it doesn't matter what they are. But a lot of the carelessness that goes on behind closed doors. So I only ever take my car to the dealership for recall work or alignments. And the only reason I go there for alignments is because in my past experiences, you take it to a cheaper place. Yeah, you'll spend half the price of the dealer, but you got to go back for a second or a third time because they never get it right the first time. And we've been going to Euromotorcars Bethesda. I mean, my parents have been going for service, in the past. I mean, I've gone for many other alignments in the past. Never had any sort of issue with them ever until now. But last Friday, I took my C63 in for an alignment, just an alignment. That's it. Picked the car up, drove down the block. The wheel was a little bit off center. That's not how it's supposed to be from an alignment. Didn't want to make a second trip, but that's fine. I understand. You can't always get the alignment right the first time. I had no problem with that. Took it back, turned the car around, and when I was turning the car around, making a U-turn, I grazed the bottom of the wheel and I felt a rough spot. I felt I've never felt that before, ever. As with any other car enthusiast, you know your car from top to bottom, especially when you work on it yourself. So, as much as I can do, I work on it at home or give it to my independent mechanic who takes great care of me, treats my car as if it's his own. So, going down the street, make a U-turn, grab the bottom of the steering wheel, and this is what I felt. So this is the bottom of the steering wheel. It's the flat bottom on the 63. I hope the camera's picking it up, otherwise I will put some pictures, but there's this rough kind of like gash mark, almost as if like Freddy Krueger or Edward Scissorhands just grabbed it as hard as they could. I don't know. It's only on the bottom left. And to demonstrate that, I'll start the car and turn the wheel around. So that's that bottom left. That's the rest of the wheel. The bottom right, mint, nothing. But that bottom left, scuffed up. So it could be one of a couple things. I was thinking, as a tech, they're always in a rush. Either some of them paid by the hour, some of them paid by the job. They're always in a rush to get in and out of the car. My thought was that potentially they had some sort of screwdriver or flashlight or something sharp clipped onto them, as I saw, in my time at Infinity, as I saw a lot of these techs did. And maybe he was in a rush to get in and out of the car. The wheel was down here. Maybe he was a bigger guy. I don't know. Whatever it was, something grazed up against the bottom of the wheel right here. I posted on my Instagram story. A lot of people swiped up. They said maybe it was a zipper. Could have been a zipper. And then a couple other technician friends reached out and said when they do the alignment, they put it's like a device that holds the steering wheel and then depresses the brake pedal and it clamps onto the wheel. It could be that. It could be that they carelessly stuck on there and just dug into the leather. But whatever it was, something sharp, something that shouldn't have touched the wheel, clearly got on it pretty roughly, and it's rough to the touch as well. So I turned the car back around, took it to the service advisor, who we've been working with for many years now. It's never had any problem with them. raised my concern. He said, it's no problem, we'll take care of the alignment, and then came back and said that there's nothing that the tech could have done to cause this to the steering wheel. He said, you can talk to the service manager if you'd like. So I did, raised the concern with the service manager. He said, that's very weird, I've never seen anything like this before, and he said that there's nothing that the tech should have done to cause it. He said the tech doesn't wear any rings, he's not married, so there's nothing that should have caused it, but I'm not saying anybody did it on purpose. It clearly happened on accident, but it happened. So he said, no worries, I'll reach out to my detailer, see what can be done about it, and get back to you. 6 days go by, I give him a call, leave him a message, and he gets back to me and says, pretty much in a nice way, that there's nothing they're going to do about it. And he called it natural leather degradation, which I find kind of insulting, because for one fact, I mean, for one, the car has 164,000 miles. I understand that. But if you look at the rest of the car, anybody who's seen my car or knows me, knows I take care of my things. This was a one-owner car before me, and I've tried to keep it that way. This is the door panel. These are my bolsters. These are the seats. Anybody who's seen the C63s know that these bolsters always get chewed up, roughed up. I mean, there's no wrinkles in the leather. I mean, for 164,000 miles, I've seen cars with 50,000 miles that have leather in far worse shape. And for an 11-year-old car with 164,000 miles, to call that on the bottom natural leather degradation when the rest of the car is pretty spotless is, I don't buy it. This is my rear seat. I mean, look at that door panel. Like I said, I've seen cars with 50,000 miles with worse interiors, worse leather condition, let alone 164,000. So I hope that goes to show that I know my car, I take care of my things, as does any car enthusiast, things you pay for, things you love. And like I said, I was in a service department, so I understand from their point of view, they don't want to admit fault. They don't want to deal with me because they're not making any money off me. Like I said, I only go for recall works, only go for alignment work, so it's not going to be much revenue off of me for the dealership. But the truth of the matter is that I took my car for a service to the Mercedes-Benz dealership and picked it up in worse shape than I dropped it off. That's unacceptable. I notice these things. Maybe a lot of other people don't notice them, but I do. And all it would have taken for them was to touch it up, condition that leather, make it right. But even that was too much for them. So to demonstrate how simple and trivial this could have been, I'm going to go ahead and fix that in this video and demonstrate how little work would have gone into just making it right and making me happy, especially after spending $210 on an alignment, which I had to go back a second try for, which is besides the point. The steering wheel is what I'm concerned about. Now, this is called Leatherique. It's a leather rejuvenator. A lot of people with leather have been using this. I use it about once a year to condition and preserve my leather, and that's partially why it's held up so well after 164,000 miles. But this is pretty much, this or any other leather conditioner is really all it would have taken, and maybe 5 minutes just to solve this issue. But nope, instead they want to damage people's cars and give it back to them like that. All it would have taken was just a little dabble of this Leatherique oil. Put that on the leather, let it soak up. You can kind of see it's starting to absorb it a little bit. Leave that on there. At worst, you could take some leather dye, which I also have. Some leather dye, some leather recoloring balm. I'm not sponsored for any of these guys. This is stuff I picked up from Amazon. Some leather balm, touch it up, good as new. Very small problem. I didn't ask for a new steering wheel. I didn't ask for anything. All I asked for them was to make it right and give me my car the way I dropped it off. It's too much to ask for. And I paid $210 for it too. Like I said, I hate to make this kind of video. I really never have done it in the past. I never wanted to. And once again, I'm not saying they did this to my car on purpose. I understand accidents happen. Everyone's in a rush to get the cars in and out, done. The truth is that a lot of them just don't care. Accidents happen, mistakes happen, but you got to own up to those mistakes, especially if you're damaging someone else's property. And just to demonstrate that just this little bit of conditioner, I've only let it sit for maybe about 10 minutes. I'm gonna reapply it and let it soak at least maybe overnight or a lot longer, and you'll get better effects that way. But just after maybe 10 minutes of letting this soak, already so much better. Smooth out a little bit, a lot softer to the touch. Obviously it's going to need to soak for a lot longer in order to hopefully hide a lot of these marks, but it's after just 10 minutes, that's a lot better. I mean, that's all they needed to do, all they had to do. But we'll go ahead and put that oil on there again and let it sit for a little bit longer, and hopefully by tomorrow that should look 90% of the way back to the way it was before. So I'm going to leave that there, let it soak in. Leather is like skin, like I said. It's not like the plastic fake leather. It's porous. It has to absorb that oil and kind of rejuvenate itself. So this was really all they could have done. Either that, just condition it, touch it up, whatever it takes. Wasn't asking for a new wheel, wasn't asking for anything from them, just to own up to the mistake and make it right, so I can drive off with my car the way I dropped it off. And finally, to those who want to say, oh, you're just overreacting, it's a small mark, you can barely see it. Yeah, maybe it's a small mark on the bottom of the steering wheel, but the principle itself is not a small matter. At the end of the day, I dropped my car off to the Mercedes-Benz dealership, spent $210 for an alignment, and picked my car up with damage that it didn't have when I dropped it off. Anyone else, if it was your car, anyone else, car enthusiast, would be upset. That's the truth. You don't expect that from anywhere, let alone a Mercedes-Benz dealership. So that's that. Hoping to put out more positive, a lot of better content in the future. Never want to have to make a video like this ever again. But thanks again for watching, and see you guys next time.